Hi, my name is Ron Blechner, and I am a CTO and developer with InvolveInc, an emerging media company specializing in virtual worlds. Today I'm going to give a quick whirlwind tour of our latest production, which we did with the US Holocaust Memorial Museum. This is a pretty intense exhibit. It is regarding Kristallnacht, which, if you're not familiar with it, is essentially when all the bad stuff really started to go down in Germany to especially the Jewish population. I'm going to a little disclaimer and a warning up front. This video will contain images which some people may find offensive, including some Nazi imagery and some anti-Semitic images. These images are merely to inform the public about the horrible tragedy which went down and to illustrate just what happened. In cooperation with the museum, a lot of effort and thinking went into just how intense to make the exhibit. It's a really delicate balancing act, but it was felt that we really needed to showcase really kind of the extent of, at least a little bit of the extent of the brutality and the hatred that went on. And the reason we do this in general, and the reason we study things like this, is so that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. And it's important to understand this. It's important, especially as you read, there's even Holocaust deniers out there, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to put that warning also in the over there in the text of this, but please don't downrate, don't flag this because it's offensive, because that's kind of what we're showing off here. With that warning said, I'm going to zoom into Second Life here. I'm doing this the sort of ghetto way. I'm just using my camera pointed at screen here, doing a quick capture in YouTube, because really that's probably the easiest way for me to do this. So here I am. I'm in Second Life, where we're doing our exhibit, and this is my avatar. Say hello, avatar. From here on in, I'm going to go pretty quickly, because really I'm just going to give you a flavor of what's going on so that you can log in and see it yourself. We are in the sim US Holocaust Museum 1. There's no space in between museum and 1. And so here's the exhibit for the most part. It's sort of big and ominous and concrete, and yet artsy at the same time. We have a wonderful creative department led by Ian Taput. We have just the collaboration with our producers and our sales team and head team with the client has just produced something we're really proud of. So we're going to step in here, and essentially you start the exhibit in this newsroom. It's sort of black and white, just to sort of kind of give it a going back in time kind of feel. On the wall there's different articles and information. You'll see with photographs and text. There's also, throughout the exhibit, there's these blue eye icons. You could touch them, and when you touch them, in the corner of your screen you'll get a little pop-up box, and it'll offer you a little note card, and you could read all sorts of additional information. So if you just want to take a quick tour, you could do that, and you could learn all sorts of extra stuff. So I walk over here, and this glowing notebook has our assignment, and you see the pop-up there, and you said your mind travels to that night, and so the wall opens up and we travel through, and what we've actually done is we have a recreation of essentially not any specific city or town, but what might have been a town the day after what happened at Kristallnacht. So look up, and suddenly it appears we're outside again. I apologize here for the glare. You're seeing my reflection here, but I just want to do a quick tour. So even right from the bat, you walk into the experience, and already there's anti-Semitic statements. And you walk up here, and this shop here is going to trigger an audio file.
described this scene. Stores along the street, some of them were owned by Jews. They were smashed in. There was yelling and screaming on the street. Stores were smashed.
So you see, in any of the, I'm going to interrupt the audio feed here, but in all of the different exhibit spaces, there's a bunch of areas where they have information and interactive areas, and they all contain audio files from actual survivors of the time, and these are people who were, more than likely children at the time, and it's a really powerful part of the exhibit. So again, more graffiti. You'll see broken glass everywhere. And let me mention now, in case I haven't made it clear, Kristallnacht itself essentially means the night of broken glass, and so the reason it's named that way is because there literally were people who were so, I guess, brainwashed and riled up that they went through and they ransacked Jewish homes and stores, and so consequently you would walk down the street and there'd be all this broken glass in these neighborhoods and whatnot. In the center of the town we have a kiosk with various images and detailed information on these, propaganda, and there's also more of the info buttons you could see. We have in here a police station, and inside there's interactive zones there. This is a ransacked house, and I'm just going to put my camera in here, and again, in each of the areas there's interactive media. So there's the survivors talking. We're walking actually into, it says consulate, which is of course the embassy. And so as as you would listen to the account of what's going on, there's different documents that appear on the wall here. I can't imagine that this walkthrough is going to be anywhere near as powerful as going through yourself, because of mostly because of the audio and so on and so forth. This is an example of what might be a hiding spot, where people might have a tiny room inside of a wall in a house, and multiple people might be crammed in there while a family is inside the main part of the house. And there's a lot of the pictures I wanted to also mention are actual photos from the time and whatnot. I'm going to come to, there's a school in the corner, but I want to come so that I can complete our tour here because we're running long. This is probably the most intense part of the exhibit. You walk up and the audio start, and then ultimately the synagogue is going to be desecrated.
Should not go to the synagogue that day because something terrible was coming down.
Then I walked to the school, I saw the Jewish windows of Jewish stores broken, and I saw already at the distance the smoke. First I didn't know what it meant, but then I realized they're burning the synagogue.
We saw our synagogue on fire, the smoke coming out. And then we turned on the radio, and we heard the news that most of the synagogues were on fire. And we shouldn't go out of the house. Jews should stay in the house, don't go outside.
By our synagogue.
So there's probably a few hours worth of walking around and material to read and so on and so forth. So anyway, we've come out of here, and we have a newsroom. We have a note card board where you could touch and leave your stories and leave your findings and your thoughts on what you felt about the exhibit. This is sort of a reflection pool and reflecting area where you could sit and contemplate and talk with other people.